Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be playing City Skylines 2. As you can see, I'm already playing the first one and I'm like really good at it. But this game is old and the second one came out a few months ago. So yes, I know I'm late to the party, but hey, better late than never. All I got to do is just buy the game and we can hop into some epic gameplay. Okay, so I'm going to type in Steam. I'm going to open the app. It's going to take a while. Taking a long while. Oh, there it is. Alright, great, perfect. Now we're on the home page. Now I'm going to type in Cities Skylines 2. There it is. Alright, now I'm going to buy the game. Wait, what's that? Alright then. Change of plans. Hello everyone. Sadly, I won't be playing City Skylines 2 today due to conditions. So, instead, I'll be playing Mini Cities 2, which if you think about it, is basically City Skylines 2, except it's on Roblox. Both of these games revolve around city building, and they just so happen to have the number 2 placed at the end of them. So if you think about it, they're basically the same game. Trust me, the similarities don't end there, because just like City Skylines 2, which came out recently, Mini Cities 2 also came out recently. Very recently, actually. So recently, in fact, that it's still in its beta stage, and it's only released its first update. And so, given all this recentness, I figured, hey, why not make a video on it? The game looks decent, it runs decent, and so therefore, it should make for a decent video. Now, with all that out of the way, you can probably discern that Mini Cities 2 is the successor. More specifically, the successor to Mini Cities. That was the first game. So with that in mind, you might ask yourself, okay, well, what changed? To which I'd respond with, a lot. But after beating the tutorial and taking a brief visual glance at everything, that doesn't seem to be the case. Sure, the island you spawn on has a few subtle differences, but everything else looks pretty similar. For starters, the GUI looks familiar. That's probably because it looks pretty much the same to that of the first game. They're in the same place and are roughly the same size. The buildings you place down in the tutorial of both games look eerily close to each other. Even some of the buildings you can place after the tutorial look similar, if not the same. Aside from a few other things I probably missed, this is just about where the similarities end between the first and second game, and where a brief similarity between Mini Cities 2 and City Skylines 2 begins. That similarity lies in this button. You click on it, and it's a skill tree. This piece of GUI has got to be derived from, or at least inspired by, the one from City Skylines 2. In that game, you use a skill tree to unlock and advance various government services. Stuff such as power, water, education, law enforcement, what have you. Much is the same with the skill tree in Mini Cities 2. Here, you can see a lot of services that I've mentioned before. Water, power, education, emergency services, the whole lot. But, unlike in City Skylines 2, the skill tree in this game takes things a step further, as it isn't limited to just city services, but includes homes, businesses, and factories. This skill tree, at least in my own headcanon, marks the start of the differentiation between this game and its predecessor, because from this point forward, everything about the game changes. Yeah, I'm not joking when I say that this skill tree changes everything. I mean, just to start off here, long are the days of just buying things outright with just cash alone. Let's say I wanted to unlock this house. To do that, I would first need to unlock everything before it in the branch. Once I reach the house I want, then I can unlock it. Unlocking things costs development points, or DP.
Remember, the further you go along a development tree, the more development points you'll need to cough up.
Earning these points is pretty simple. All you need to do is place down a building you already own. The higher tier the building, or how far that building is in a certain branch, the more development points you'll be able to earn. This extra step, that is the development skill tree panel thingy, it isn't that bad because, first off, it closely mimics that of City Skylines 2, which is what I'm assuming the devs here were going for. And second off, they give you options for buildings placed down. Look at all these branches for the housing alone. I mean, look at this. I can make a small Asian house. What exactly makes it Asian? Who knows? Anyways, I want to turn this bit into like a really nice neighborhood. So I'm going to continue expanding it by placing down more Asian houses. And what? Did you think that building a new building would be as easy as just spending the money and watching it materialize right in front of you like in the first game? No. Rather than seeing a finished product, you'll be met with a construction site. And on top of that construction site is going to be a GUI with a list of materials. I think you can see where this is going. To obtain these resources, you're going to need the specific producer building that can produce that resource. In this case, I'll need 10 stones. Luckily for me, I can just get that stone from that mine. Early game, this isn't too bad. Unless of course you really like spamming down buildings and really hate waiting. However, as you advance further into any branch of any building type, the resources to make that building become ever so more tedious to obtain. Why? Because you need a new producer building that'll accept a lower tier resource, and with time it'll convert into a higher tier resource, which can then be used to build more advanced buildings. Again, more extra steps. But just like before, this isn't exactly a bad thing. If anything, I think this new material system is a good thing, as it helps with the sense of progression. That is not to say, of course, that all extra steps are built equal. So far, I've talked a lot about the notable differences between the first and the second game, and for the most part, they've been alright. But there is one difference that I found a bit odd and wanted to talk about. That difference has to do with making money. To make money, you need two things: a factory and a store. The factory to produce stuff, and a store to sell that stuff. This logic stays the same across both games. What isn't the same is the way that the product goes from the factory and into the store. In the first game, delivering goods was pretty simple. All you needed was a factory and a buyer. That's it. From there, delivery of goods is automated. This is a pretty cut and clean process that gives you automation of goods from the start and keeps your cash flow consistent. In many cities too, that simplicity is chucked out the window. Let me explain. So obviously, if you want to make money, you need a factory and a store, or something that will consume the goods of the factory. That part has not changed. But what has changed is the way that goods get to this store, because I don't know if you see that red box up there, that signifies that this shop is out of goods to sell, and therefore will not generate you any revenue. So if you want this store to have things to sell, you need to manually export the goods from the factory, and the van comes up and it delivers the goods. Now, obviously, this can get pretty annoying. As you can see, all my businesses have run out of things to sell, and so I'm not generating any income. In fact, I'm losing income. And so, to mitigate this, and to try and get my automation back, I'm going to invest in this office space, which claims it will automate certain tasks by managing my buildings. Okay, now that I have my office space here, if I click on it, I can now manage buildings. So let me just manage. Oh, wait, what? So now that I have my new office space, I'm going to manage some buildings. So if I click manage, I have no clients, womp womp, so I'm going to manage some businesses. Or more specifically, these factories. I'm going to select you, and I'm going to manage your task. I'm going to select your task. I'm going to export. What am I looking at here? Oh, okay. So I want to export to this gas station. Client is full. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, so now this should be automated, I think. Okay, yeah, it looks like the automation is automating. It's taking its sweet time. But right about now, yep, there you go. That's what automation looks like in this game. They added another step to automation of all things. That's oof. You can think of these office spaces as a middleman. They take the goods from the factory it was assigned to and deliver them to the assigned store. And boy does it take its sweet time doing so. There's nothing inherently wrong with this new system of automation. My question is just why? What was so wrong about the first game's way of automation, which was done straight from the factory? Sure, that game also had offices, but they served as more of a boost to business rather than being an essential. Still though, if there's one remotely good thing about having to pay for goods to be automatically delivered to stores, it's that we get more skyscraper models. So, is the game any good? Well, given its recent release, I would say yes. Everything runs pretty nice, and there aren't too many obvious issues. It's also worth remembering that this game is still in beta, so who knows what'll come out next. I personally look forward to seeing what new content will come during and after the game's beta stage, and what old content might be added back from the first game. With all that said, I recommend you give this game a shot, even if you're not into city building or tycoons. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, you can always hit that dislike button. Not like I can see them anyways. And hey, if you want to, you can always, press that red button and subscribe.